What's happening, Wisdom Warriors? Back at it for another video. Let's go, let's go. Alright, so we're going to pull a card from both decks, alright? Yesterday we got the Devil card. Today we're going to see what we get here and what comes out for the collective reading for today's sermon. Because as you know, today is Sunday sermon. Hope you're ready. Hope you're buckled up. Boy, do I have a message for us. And oh, here we go. We got the Three of Cups. Busted right out of the deck. Three of Cups. See, now I realized, I'm getting the hang of this camera. And as you can see, it, you put it in the box and it blurs out the background. I love that. And then it comes right back. So Three of Cups, guys. I know that needed to come out for somebody. That's for sure. Let's see. We're gonna pull one out from the deck I love. And here's what I've been doing because I took the class yesterday. Just a little tip for anybody beginning tarot. I was told, well, one way you can clear your deck is knocking on the deck twice, using a stick of selenite, putting it on top of the deck, sleeping with the deck under your pillow. That will not clearing it. That won't clear it. The selenite and knocking on it clears it, but putting it under your pillow will essentially connect you deeper with your deck, which I slept with this deck last night under my pillow. And we're going to go ahead and knock on it and see what card comes from this one for the collective today on the sermon. Let me tell you, the Rider-Waite deck, man. Well, he had a couple of them, but I'm going to just go ahead and put that back in because we're just pulling one card for today. And I watched, the last class yesterday, and what's really cool is we're going to be able to still communicate with the teacher, and also he's going to do a reading for each of us. So we got the Five of Wands for someone. The Five of Wands. Look at that beautiful card, man. Look at the artwork. I love it. So that's the Five of Wands. So here you go. So we got the Three of Cups from the Rider-Waite deck, and then the Three of Wands from the Harmony Tarot deck. So somebody needed to hear that and see that, and that's going to watch this video. And I just want to start out by saying thank you to everybody who has commented, who has partaked in the community, and just communicating and just being a part of this wonderful community we're building together. I'm truly grateful and thankful at the growth of the channel. We are growing. It's slow, as I posted in the comments, but it's still growing nonetheless. And before you know it, I'm just going to keep going, and as I feel called. And I feel like since I started over a year ago, I've changed and grown so much. If you go back to, there's I think we got 190 videos maybe, if I'm not mistaken, between shorts and actual videos. So there's a lot of content on there, and a lot of stuff you can watch back and learn from, and not just watching it for entertainment and laughing and giggling at me maybe, but you can actually learn and grow from what I'm saying and my analogies and the things that are coming through and what is just I feel called to bring to you all every day. And there was a point when over a year ago when I really wasn't feeling it. I wasn't really. Maybe you saw a video once every few months or once every 6 months, and now it's been very consistent. At least I've been doing a short and a video daily, including the Sunday sermon. And so I'm proud of myself for being consistent and just bringing you a new message each and every day of my perspective and my perception and my the chance for me to look at what I'm experiencing and what I'm going through and reflecting on it and then seeing what comes out of it and just taking the time to heal each and every day within myself and to go within, which is something I was actually talking about today, that I remember over 10 years ago at least, when I started, I think, dabbling a little bit into the spiritual journey or content or whatever you want to call it, like that spiritual path. And I didn't really understand even what meditation was. When people talked about meditation, I'm like, and they're like, oh yeah, you just sit and close your eyes and you go within. I was like, what the fuck is go within? Like I didn't know what that meant. Like sit in silence. Like who's gonna sit in silence? Because mind you, at that time, I literally distracted myself from everything. If it wasn't me playing video games, if it wasn't porn, if it wasn't chasing women, if it wasn't sugar and junk food, if it wasn't me being at the gym over 3 hours a day, this kind of goes back to overdoing and just distracting every possible way I could distract from feeling emotions and feeling myself. And I even remember I would just randomly be driving around aimlessly for hours, just being in my car, just driving around, numbing out from everything. Just like, I didn't even know what I was really doing. I was just in the car driving to avoid essentially running from myself. And that's actually going to be the what I'm going to put in quotes in this video, running from myself. The title, the Sunday sermon, running from myself, because that's what I've been doing for most of my life until I hit rock bottom twice, which led me gradually more and more within myself to go within myself. And that's exactly what I was running from and didn't even realize it. And, we can get caught up with, our relationships, our friends, our family, our shopping addictions, like I said, porn, addictions, drug addictions, food addictions, shopping addictions, gaming addictions. It's all fine and good if you have a balance, if there is a balance. But if you find yourself overdoing any of these areas, then they're more than just something you do. They are an addiction, and they become an addiction. And I found myself like jumping from one addiction to another. From, like I said, from women, from porn, from gaming, I talked about this on previous videos way back. I would venture to say probably like 2001. I was working at a job, and it was like my hours were like 11 to 8, and it sucked because every time I got off work, I literally couldn't take care of anything because everything was closed. And I found myself, so I had the weekends off, and I wanted to go to the beach. I wanted to get out in nature. I wanted to was the was the word to put in brackets, because the weekend came, and all I did during the week at work was visualize and think about the things I could be doing when I'm not at work. But then when I was not at work, I found myself, the minute I got home from work at 8 o'clock at night, I found myself on um, role playing games that were virtual reality. And literally from the time I got off work till the time Sunday came before I had to go back to work the next day on Monday, I was playing nonstop all day and night. Didn't even stop to go to sleep. And then I found myself, I'm like, I woke up out of this slumber on Sunday to look, to pretty much pull my head out of the buried sand and say, what the fuck was I just doing all weekend? Where did my weekend go? What happened? It's gone, and I can't even do the things now I thought about doing all week. And then the same thing, the cycle continued. Monday came, I was back at work, had massive anxiety driving to work, didn't want to be there, thought about the things I could have been doing the past week, and I had shame and guilt that I didn't do those things all week. I'm bearing that shame and guilt of the fact that I didn't get to do those things I wanted to do. And then that cycle would begin all over again. Then Monday came, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'd be visualizing and dreaming of the things I could be doing when I'm off. And then the weekend came, and I did it all over again. I literally did it all over again. Continued that same pattern over and over and over. And found myself every single day driving into work with massive anxiety, wanting to turn around, wanting not to go in, but then continued to go, and to then continue the same perpetual cycle all over again. And at that time, I was smoking cigarettes, and that was another addiction I had. One that, even though I thought about the potential hazards of maybe getting emphysema and having my throat, my voice box gone, and nothing against if you smoke, but this is my journey and my story, and I had those visuals of the emphysema, and of them playing it on TV, and the woman having no voice box, and walking around with an oxygen tank, and those things were in my mind, but yet the addiction was so powerful and overtook me, and yet when I was doing it, I would have anxiety prior to doing it, prior to that smoking and that sucking in that nicotine. I had the anxiety and the thoughts and the visuals, because that was what was giving me anxiety, and yet I was still doing it over and over and over again. I would just continue to go buy another pack. And then when I found myself at the bar or the strip club or the club, and I was getting drunk and drinking and getting tore up on the dance floor, I found myself smoking more and more. When I was drinking, I found myself smoking, going through multiple packs. And so it was a perpetual cycle that, and just continued that same cycle over and over and over again. And I found that with many, many addictions, and all those addictions were just me running from myself over and over again. I went from one to the next. If it wasn't me jumping from woman to woman, even though that didn't last either, it man, the last 7 years have been just massive reflection on all of it. And to think that those things were serving me, well, there was lack of self-love, lack of self-care, and even the healthy things became an addiction. As I said, the gym, over 3 hours a day, 7 days a week. I talked about a story of me being at the gym, and this is how much I was overdoing it, because I was there and I remember being like near the bars, like all the curl bars and things like that. They had an area in the gym where they had curl bars and different, ones like that where you didn't have to put the weights on it. They were already on there and you just picked up the one that you wanted. Well, I picked it up, and I don't know if I told you this story or not, but I don't think I did. And I remember standing like facing the exit door, but it was far from it. It was all the way on the other side of the gym. And I go to pick up the curl bar off the ground, and as I get ready to lift it, because you have to bend over to do that, my back completely went out. I was on the floor. I felt I landed on the floor next to realize like I had to pick. I was so embarrassed by it that I didn't want to tell anybody about it, and I literally just left the bar there and stood up and struggled to walk out of there because I literally had a back spasm picking that bar up off the floor. And interestingly enough, I was telling somebody today about, because they mentioned to me about back issues, and I mentioned there's a author that passed away that I've read many of her books, and I have many of her books, and I'm trying to remember the name of the book, but she describes almost every ailment in that book, uh, and correlates it with something like an emotional issue in life. So I mentioned back issues, lower back issues, and just back issues in general are typically not feeling supported. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. If you think about it, it kind of connects, and I most of my life I haven't felt supported, not only by just people around me, but also in just living here on this earth. I really am starting to feel that way, or I've been feeling that way. It's been uh, a gradual ease into it, I guess, so to speak. Because I came here as a little kid, and I came here and incarnated and never really felt supported. Um, but I also realize that that's the disconnection from source, from God, from divine. When you don't feel supported, you're disconnected, and that's kind of like me being kind of having trust difficulties, and also um, trusting in what's unfolding, trusting from what's coming, trusting in the unknown, trusting in not knowing, or trying to figure out the outcome or control it, so to speak. And so, yeah, that was very interesting. And that was a common theme for me. The biggest one I ever had was 2017, uh, where I literally was wrapping some gifts on the bed for somebody that I was dating. And I went to go lift an empty gift bag. Literally, you know what a gift bag looks like, and you know what it feels like. It's light as a feather. I went to go lift it off the ground, and literally my back spasmed to the point where it felt like there was a string in my back, and the string snapped, and that's what it felt like, and it was like a whip. And lo and behold, next thing I know, I'm on the floor, and I felt like I couldn't get up, and I felt like my legs were done, like I wasn't going to walk again. Luckily, I was able to reach my arm on the dresser and knock my phone off to call the girl I was dating and one of my family members to come and help me up off the floor. I was literally freaking out. I had so much anxiety and fear that I didn't know what was going on and what happened to me. And that was by far one of the worst spasms I had. Not to say that the other ones weren't bad, because they were. They literally um, forced me into. I couldn't really do anything, and the pain was so severe. uh, and the swelling, and it took like weeks for that to go down. And so it forced me into a lot of self-reflection and going inward and realizing that that I was overdoing. I was overdoing and didn't have balance in almost every area of my life. And it kind of goes back to those previous videos I spoke about overdoing and balance, and how important that is, and how important that is to be aware of, and to realize and to actually then question how you can get those areas in balance. Like I said, whether it's finance, whether it's health, whether it's um, romance, whether it's addictions of any kind, that's all in balance. That's all not being in balance. And that's all overdoing. And that all comes from um, essentially not being in balance and looking at those areas in your life and how you can bring them back, which a big one is breath work. Another big one is nature. Another big one is meditation, or taking time to get to know yourself, giving yourself self-love by spending time with yourself, like going in nature, um, like sitting with yourself. I do it all the time. I've done it for years and years. I mean, all that time I drove in the car with no music on and just in silence. All the time that I sat in the mall by myself, just people watching, just thinking, just sitting there alone. I did that for years and years and years. I would just go randomly in the middle of the day and just sit in the mall. Walk around. First of all, I'd walk around, just not even buying anything, just walking around, thinking, being with myself. Or, and then when I walked around the mall like a billion times, I would then sit in the middle of the mall and just people watch and just think and just be with myself, experience me. Then the last few years, the last year I was in Florida, I would go to the beach by myself. I would um, go to different beaches and, just be with myself, going in nature by myself, going to the water by myself. All these things forced me into the reflection of me, of, you know, uh, realizing what I need, what I want, what I don't want, who I want to be around, who I don't want to be around, what kind of relationship I see myself in. There's still things I'm learning about myself and what I want that I need to spend more time on and with. But I feel like this journey of the tarot is going to help me get more deep within with my intuition, and I'm going to be working with two different people possibly this week to go into the Akashic Records and partnering up and practicing. That's going to bring me closer and more into my intuition, more deep deep in my intuition more, let's say. We use that word. Uh, because that's something that I have had, but I doubted. And I'm sure a lot of us have done that. Doubted everything that came through. Like, oh, I have to ask. I want to do this, but I have to ask multiple people and what they think and what their opinion is of it. And if they think that it's a wise decision or not. And then my excuse would be, well, I need to ask multiple people, and then I take those opinions of the multiple people and bring it together, and then figure out from that what I feel is best. And why not just go with your intuition from jump? But it's a muscle, just like going to the gym, just like a bicep, and you have to strengthen that muscle. And it's interesting because there's all these things that I've been doing, like the different levels of Reiki that I've done, the Kundalini Reiki Master class, the Holy Fire, Reiki level 1 and 2, the animal Reiki, the breath work, the Kundalini yoga that I've been doing for over 2 years, now the journey into tarot, the Akashic Records, the QHHT, hypnosis, all this stuff requires intuition. It requires you listening to the inner voice, and you can't doubt in any of these things. When you're sitting there doing, when I did multiple sessions on my father with the QHHT, which is quantum healing hypnosis therapy, I had to trust that what was happening and what he was saying that he was under, and that what was coming through was what was coming through. Because it's easy to doubt and question and not believe, and doubt those inner voices, like those deep down inner voices that are coming from your guides and angels. That's very easy to doubt and just say, oh, I thought of that answer. That's not coming from spirit. I thought of that. And then you doubt and question. And what's interesting is I don't do that anymore. I used to when I first did my first class, which was Holy Fire, which I think was, I'm trying to remember the date. Let me just look. I'll tell you, I have the certificate over here. 2021 was the first. 2021 was the first Reiki class I took. I'm thinking, or maybe it was the animal. No, actually, no. Hold on a minute here. Yeah, it was actually. The Holy Fire was the first one I did, which was 2021, December. And prior to that, I was doubting everything, even doubting the Reiki energy that was coming through. And now that I've done, mostly they have been family, but now I've actually done some multiple different people that are not family, but I consider them family anyway, in some aspect or another, because we're all one and we're all connected regardless. And the fact of the matter is, literally every single one of them that I've done have been in another state or country. And I didn't tell them anything about it, and I know that they didn't research it. And they felt stuff. They felt stuff happening during it and after and before it and everything else. So it works. And to be honest with you, when I got attuned, I felt it big time. That was kind of a sign too, but I'm kind of like the type of person that has to experience something, like almost it has to be like physical to a point for me to believe it, but now that I've done all of this and I've got attuned many different times now, I've been doing breath work. That's brought me into my intuition, the Kundalini yoga big time, because I get huge downloads on the mat, on the yoga mat, every day. And things come up for me. And the way that I used to think is if it came up in my mind, I thought of it. And it's not the case anymore, because I know those are either emotional things that are rising or things that need to be seen or messages that I need to, listen to. A lot of it is intuition. I'm extremely intuitive, and I always have been. It was just the fact of the matter is I doubted it. And it's interesting because this one person that I was dating back in 2015 gave me a great analogy and reminded me, and I won't ever forget it. We were driving to the beach. I met her in downtown Fort Lauderdale, a little ways from downtown, but I met her there at an aquarium. We met, and then we followed each other to the ocean. And she was behind me and I was in front of her. And as we're driving, we're looking for parking spots. And literally this is what happened. If I can describe this the best way I can on this camera. I'm driving and she's behind me, and I saw this spot or this parking lot area that, and mind you, here's the thing, if you missed that, you had to circle around. You couldn't like make a U-turn or anything like that. The way that it was like this big huge circle. So you drove and then you went around and then you ended up on the beach side on A1A, and then you have to go all the way around to get to the parking again. So what's interesting is I went like this with the steering wheel. And I was going to turn. My intuition was telling me to turn down that street or that parking lot area. And I questioned it. I doubted it. So I went like this. And then I kept going. And she sensed it. Immediately she noticed it. And she parked there, but I didn't. So I had to go all the way around and then come back. And then finally I end up in the same place I could have went to if I would have followed my intuition and my gut to turn there. And she said to me, this is her exact words, "How come you always doubt yourself?" And I'll just never forget that. This many years, it was such a gift for her to give that to me. And I got chills just saying that because, so yeah, it's, intuition is very, very important. And the more you can strengthen that muscle, the better off you will be, and the more supported you will feel on this earth. Because that is a large reason why a lot of us don't feel supported, because we doubt the intuition, or we don't even hear the voices because it's so low, because we have been doubting it for so long that it's not strong anymore. So you then have to strengthen the muscle. But if you're using all these addictions and distractions and numbing out, how can you strengthen that? And you probably forgot it even exists. And then you're relying on everything externally to give you the answers, when now in 2023 and going further, we're required to go within to get those answers versus going without like we've been doing for so long. So that is essentially where we're going to strengthen the muscle of the intuition. And that's where you will feel supported. The more that muscle is stronger, and the more you'll believe and trust those messages coming through. And maybe that is why my higher self has been giving, or just directing me or guiding me to these different trainings to strengthen that muscle, because I've been asking for that majority of my life. That support, that trust, the not doubting. I said it all the time. After that instance, I continued to repeat myself and say, man, how come I always do that? And it's like I had to constantly go outside of myself to ask everybody what their opinion is, what they think. Oh yeah, what do you think of this logo? Instead of like, what do I think of it? Versus asking 10,000 people what they think. Oh, well, this is what I believe you have to do. Get multiple opinions, and then you make your decision from there. How about just going within and getting that answer, and then going with what you feel internally and with your gut? And then when you put it out there, whatever it will be, it will be. And I'm sure everyone will love it because you decided that that's what it would be. I hope this helps someone out there. Just the more and more you go within, and the more and more you strengthen that muscle, that intuitive muscle, the more, because we all have it. We all have it. Every single one of us on this earth. Every single one of us. It's just a matter of some people have it stronger, the muscle, than others. And some people have been using it their entire life. And it just got stronger and stronger, and then others, well, we used the external, and that's why it was weaker. So it's not a big deal, you can work on it and you can strengthen it each and every day, just like you would strengthen your muscles going to the gym. It works the same way. So, I urge you to do these things that will require you to strengthen that muscle, which is going within and getting those answers. And if you have to sit in silence and meditate and just listen to what is coming through, then by all means do it. Or if you have to just say, I want to do this, but I'm not really sure. And then, what do you think? and then listen what comes up. Listen and do that more and more. And the more and more you do that, the more and more it will get stronger, and it will get, you will become more intuitive. You already are intuitive. You just you've been ignoring it, and you've been doubting it, and you've been pushing it away. So hence why it's not as strong as you would like it to be, or maybe non-existent. So there's many things out there you can do too that will help you in that, which is like getting a tarot deck and connecting yourself to it, and just looking at the cards and seeing what you feel is coming up for you from those cards, what you're feeling and sensations in the body, things of that nature, or Reiki, or some types of QHHT, all these different modalities to assist us in strengthening that muscle too, and asking your angels and your guides to assist you in giving you ways to strengthen it, so I urge you to do those things, it will help you in life. You won't be walking around banging into walls blindfolded, you know. You will really be able to navigate life in a much, much better way. So I love you all so much. Thank you again for allowing me to bring this Sunday sermon to fruition. And I love all of you for contributing your comments, your shares, your likes, your subscribing. It's all helping this channel to grow. And I'm so grateful for the growth of this channel and how rapidly it is growing. And it just is so beautiful and so amazing. And I enjoy every single day I have the opportunity to come on here and bring the knowledge and the experience that I've gone through in my life to you all. It's a blessing, and your comments are amazing. I'm grateful for each and every one of you who is a subscriber and who does contribute and smashes the like button and shares your journey, and you're helping us all grow, evolve on this spiritual path, this self-improvement, this beautiful journey we're walking together. So thank you again. I love you all so much, from my heart to yours. Thank you for another beautiful video. I hope you enjoyed the sermon today. And, this is a new series that we're going to continue each and every week. So again, share it out. I'm sure there's somebody that needs to hear this. I love you all from the bottom of my heart, from my heart to yours. Take care, and let's go, Wisdom Warriors. We got this.